lead follow-up, and nurturing. So I'm thinking maybe what we need to do is kind of dive into this probably a little bit more than what any of our brains think, because it's just this is a big question. So let's start with this. When you're breaking up when your agents are breaking up the database and saying this is a now buyer, this is a soon to come buyer, what are some parameters you can tell everybody listening? This is how you guys separate stuff.
So can I start with that? Just I want to touch a little bit on what you're talking about, Barry. So when you're hearing the "I'm not ready to buy right now," and that's one of the things we're looking for is what track them on. If they're not ready right now, first question: do they have a task to accomplish? Some people are strictly aspirational; they have no task to accomplish. You just want to surf on online and look at houses because they're going to move in a year. They're doing nothing more. There's not much we're going to do with that, but we're going to be able to remove the pressure from them feeling like they have to buy with us today. If we can do that, that's great. But once they have a task to accomplish, whether that's needing information on mortgages, credit repair, school districts, you name it, once it's task driven, we're able to put them into kind of a different bucket of what we can do in order to help them accomplish that task. If they're up here in aspirational zone and not ready to accomplish a task yet, we'll move them down there to research through the nurture and automation over time, right? But once they're engaging, they need something. Now the task that they get towards the bottom of the funnel is they want access and information to specific property. XYZ Main Street, I want to get in, I want to know about it, is it available, what's the price, yada, yada, yada. That task is when they become hot and heavy and they want phone calls, right? They want to hear from you or they'll move on. So for us, segmenting the database, it's going to be based on aspirational research or transactional. And we'll figure out what message, what action plan to put to that lead based on where they're at in that cycle.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I like that. I hadn't thought about that word, but aspirational. They're dreaming, basically.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Communication is around that. So that's very much in touch with the consumer. That's brilliant. Grant, how about you?
So, ours, if you're talking about how we lead the people through the path, the lead comes in first, right? And we call it a to be determined lead for us. And we're just trying to determine what they are. Are they a now buyer? Are they never going to buy? So we can be like what Mike's doing is lead them down the path. And we stole a lot from you, Barry, with the home tour, the love it or leave it programs. Yeah. And we're offering all that. But like for us, an A buyer, it's a 0 to 90 day buyer, right? And they're going to buy 0 to 90 days. You better have an appointment with them. You better be getting them pre-approved for a mortgage.
Right, right.
And then, 90 days to 6 months, how do you follow up with that? What do you offer them? So we've come up with different USPs, and we stole most of them from you, Barry, in all honesty.
I stole them from somebody else, so it's fine.
So it works out perfect. And Mike stole them from somebody else too, I'm sure. So
we call it, in high school it's cheating.
Yeah.
No, but here it's expected. We call it R&D, right? Rip off and deploy.
And that's how I got through high school.
Yeah, right.
So, but, and it's offering them enough, something of value to lead them down the path. To, you talked about feeding a baby a cheeseburger, right? You're not going to do that.
Right.
And it's just leading them because they don't know what they're going to do.
Right.
I like to tell the agents on our team, everybody wants permission to buy a house. So like when you're a little kid, your mom and dad give you permission to do everything, right? Right. Going buying a house is a big deal. And you want somebody to support you and back you on it. You want somebody to tell you it's okay.
Right. That's huge.
And I think it's also important to note too that you got to give them permission that, yes, you have permission to buy, but you also have permission to buy when you're ready.
Correct.
So my action plan is going to make sure that we remove pressure to buy now. We'll give them permission, knowledge, tools to buy. And we'll even help solve their problem because remember, nobody loves to move, guys. How many people get up and go, you know what, I just feel like moving today because it sounds super fun to pack up, lose money, disrupt my life. People move because they're solving a pain point or they're going to some higher goal, right? It's
every single time.
Every time, right? So if you can address the pain point and figure out why they're going to move, and maybe it's a misconception. I can't move for a year because I don't have my 20% down payment. Well, why would you need 20% down? You can start identifying. One thing you got to do, and this is something agents are not good at doing, I don't think, is start asking really good questions, and a lot of them.
That's
you have to ask really good questions, because if you just ask them when they want to move, if you're an order taker, just writing things down and taking their order, they don't know what they're doing. You start asking good questions, you start discovering what they don't know. and what
So you're educating them all the way through the process. It's education.
every time.
I think the most powerful thing you can do with one of them is tell them it's okay. You don't need to buy it right now. You know, you're out showing them a house. You don't buy this house. This isn't the right house for you.
Correct.
You're going to build so much more rapport with somebody by doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell my agents, you know, if they're ready, you can ask them those specific questions. If they're not ready, go be not ready with them. And what everybody else is doing is waiting for them to get ready. You ready? No? Okay, I'll call next month. You ready? Okay, I'll call next month. And what we're doing is we're saying, oh, good, you're not ready. Let's go sit down and be not ready together. And be relevant to the not ready person today. And it's opened up a lot of opportunities for my agents that weren't there.
But Barry, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
It is. You know? Because guess what? The reality is, again, these people have no task to accomplish. But the minute they do, if you've already started to build that rapport, now think about this, right? We think about the disruptors in the market, the Zillows, the Open Doors, right? So everybody, and we've got Open Door in our neck of the woods. But I'll tell you something. What happens is Open Door will call, as a seller will call Open Door. They'll call it like a Redfin, and then they'll call a traditional agent. They'll call all three and get a comparison, right? Mm-hmm. What we're trying to do is get our agents, and this is relevant, and you'll see why. We're trying to get our agents to be the first and single greatest or only point of contact. How do we do that? Well, if we're working with an Open Door product of our own, they won't call Open Door first, they'll call us. Why? Because we have what they're looking for. So it's the same thing with Ylopo leads or any leads. Before they start accomplishing tasks around you, let them know that the tasks that they are going to need to accomplish, it's all in-house. You've got it. It's about them understanding that, know you, like you, trust you, understand your model, what you can offer,
right?
And keeping in front of them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one thing with this, because I want people to be able to write this down, you know, breaking these people down into buying timelines, there's no right answer. What I decided to do was to take color, timeline, letter, and merge them. And so red is A, 90 days. B is warm, 120 days. You know, basically, so we broke it into some people like letters, some people like timeline, some people like words, like temperature gauges. There's no right or wrong answer. The issue is you've got to just make a decision how to break it down and then decide how many times do I want to speak to these people. Would that be a good oversimplification, guys?
It's fantastic. Yeah, we haven't got as far as you because we're still on letters.
So we created a graphic for it. So our agents, we wanted this graphic in front of our agents. So they could see it. They could go, you know, where are these people? Are they aspirational, research, or transactional? We did the ABC thing for a long time. And so I wanted to try something different and make it more visual. I just think people are visual. Then the other graphic we did was we kind of illustrated.
Go back up. I want to take a screenshot of that. That's really good.
Mike's going to send it to us, I hope.
Actually, I already posted it on the Ylopo Success Community there, but I can send it to you for sure. Yep. Then the other one is illustrating the amount of contact attempts. Each one of these represents a conversation. Each dot represents a contact attempt. So we're trying to show our agents, this is what your workflow really looks like. If you call 2 times. Now, I remember before the stat that I heard years ago, and it's probably the same now, was that the average connection with a buyer was connected between a contact attempt 5 through 12. 80% of connections happen between a contact attempt 5 and 12. And most of those happen between attempts 7 and 10. So that's where the bulk of the connections actually happen. Yet the average agent would try to make a connection twice at best, 1 to 2 times.
And I think what you're hitting on, Mike, is the number one problem I hear from agents that I talk to is that I'm not converting. Mm-hmm. And it is what I'm seeing consistently. They're just not doing that, 10, 12, 20th attempted contact.
So this is why I put the graphic together so they could see it. But then also, we use Follow Up Boss. That's our CRM. What I like about Follow Up Boss is we can assign those tasks. When the action plans are assigned, we can see their dashboard and see, hey, how come you're not following up? I can see all these unclear tasks.
And we do that weekly on our team. We go through and randomly pull leads out to see how the follow-up's been done. And if the follow-up's not been done, we run on a first to claim, right? The lead comes in as first to claim.
Yep.
And if you're not doing your follow-up and I go in there and randomly check, you're out of the rotation till you're caught up.
So here's the thing, right? You do that and you'll find there's a correlation. When agents are clearing their tasks, conversion's higher. When they're not, conversion's lower. Period.
Yep.